We are wrapping up our Billionaires Club series with this hypothetical question. If the nation's billionaires found it in their hearts to chip in to stave off a financial crisis, would it even make any difference at all? Bloomberg's billionaire expert Matthew Miller joins us now to go through some of the numbers. Matt, good morning to you. What happens if everyone answers Warren Buffett's call to man up and pay more taxes? Does it make a difference?
Well, first of all, we have to think about this. If people actually, he's talking about billionaires and millionaires paying more taxes, and that would actually make a difference. But if you just took this hypothetical situation of taking some of the richest men in America and you added up their public holdings, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Larry Ellison, Steve Jobs, and the Google guys, how much would it impact? And if you sold off their public stakes, it would be $113 billion.
So you liquidated their fortunes.
That's right. Liquidate. And by the way, the stocks would tank and it wouldn't really work. It would only be worth 0.78% of the national debt. So if the Republicans got their way and said, Buffett, cut us a check, you want to give all your money to all this, it wouldn't make a dent at all.
So what can these guys do? If their extraordinary fortunes don't add up to enough to make a dent in the federal debt, could they perhaps make some meaningful contributions?
So the meaningful contribution is, could they cover one line item on the federal budget? And the answer is yes. So you could look at the Justice Department. And the Justice Department has a budget of $9.5 billion. And Bill Gates could cover about 141% of that. So about
again, this assumes he liquidates his net worth.
It assumes he liquidates his stake in Microsoft. So that's $13 billion, and he could cover the Justice Department for a year and a couple months.
How about Warren Buffett?
So Warren Buffett, he could cover the Treasury Department. He could cover 67% of the Treasury Department. So the Treasury Department has a budget of about $58 billion, and Buffett has $38 billion in Berkshire Hathaway stock, so he could cover about 67% of that.
Anybody else we should be looking at?
Well, look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs could cover the entire Treasury Department. He could own Tim Geithner, for example, for about a year. And so Steve Jobs has a stake in Disney and Apple of about $7 billion. Treasury Department has a budget of about $6 billion.
Okay, but that is just what the Treasury Department spends to operate. It has nothing to do with...
That's right. It has nothing to do with QE2, QE3, QE4.
And that's the Fed job at the Treasury Department.
Treasury Department has billions of dollars just to pay Tim Geithner and all of their guys to operate the printing presses, etc. Well, that's the Fed's job. And the last, NASA, they're taking the space shuttles out of commission, but they had a $17 billion budget last year. So Bill Gates could cover 79% of NASA's 2010 budget if he wanted to.
Now, we left Larry Ellison out of the equation here.
Now, Larry Ellison could cover several things. He could cover about half of the Transportation Department's budget. He's got a stake of $28 billion in Oracle right now.
It's just amazing. One of the things that I threw at you at the beginning was this issue of whether people are going to, whether billionaires and millionaires are going to end up paying more taxes the way that Warren Buffett wants them to. You've spent quite a bit of time looking at billionaires. Do you get the sense that they're philanthropic guys? They've joined the Giving Pledge. Warren Buffett and Bill Gates are traveling the globe trying to get billionaires to, as I say, man up and agree to contribute at least half of your fortune to charity.
Right.
But what if at the same time they became a little more willing, let's say, to cough up more in taxes, maybe to close some of those loopholes like Jeff Immelt was telling us earlier this morning?
Right.
Is that going to make a difference?
Well, it's certainly going to make a difference. You'll see millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars, if you increase the capital gains and the the dividend tax rates from 15% to say 20% or 25%. You have to remember that most billionaires control their fortunes through blocks of large stock or through large private companies. So you'd have to liquidate those companies. If you think about the Giving Pledge, they have to liquidate all of that stuff in order to give it away.
Or put it in trust and hand it over.
So most of them do not earn this income tax that we earn off of our salaries. You earn it off of, they earn most of their money off of investing, and so it's dividends and capital gains, and as a result, when those are taxed at 15%, and that's really what he's asking for, is to be taxed. What he said in the New York Times op-ed, which was really good, he was basically like, no tax rate is ever going to deter a good investor from investing. So you're not going to see people flee the markets because we take the cap gains and dividend tax up to 20%.
All right, Matthew Miller of Bloomberg, a would-be member of the Billionaires Club, right?